also many thanks for your contributions on a number of occasions during in developing the broadband plan. In the preface to the plan, we asserted that the author of the plan was America itself. It is true that our team at the FCC put the final pen to paper. We were locked for months in a conference room full of old drafts, cheap Chinese food, and pizza. Please do not tell the First Lady about our diet. But we actually believe that America wrote the plan because so many helped in the formulation. The public contributed ideas through the many hearings across the country, through more than 30 workshops held at the FCC, which were simulcast over the web. Many people in this room also contributed through meetings with our team, and more importantly, for their long track record of looking at the issues we were addressing. So I want to thank all of you in the room for helping us put the plan together. Without your help, we could have never gotten it done, even if we had supplemented our diet with Red Bull, which we did on a couple of occasions. And just as America authored the plan, America will end up implementing the plan as well. Our plan targeted government levers, but those narrow bands in which government plays an important targeted role in the promotion of broadband deployment, adoption, and use. But we realized early the limits of government. To achieve our ambitious vision of broadband in America, government is not nearly enough. The plan details how we need the help of many stakeholders in the nonprofit and for-profit sectors to realize the vision. So I'm here today to say thank you to Deborah, thank you to all of you who are sponsoring this very important initiative. We're focusing today on older Americans because the barriers to that community adopting are steep. As Deborah mentioned, only 35% of those over 65 have adopted broadband versus 65% for the population at large. It's particularly acute among older Americans who are racial or ethnic minorities, and near 21% of African Americans over 65 have adopted broadband, about 1/3 the national average. They're particularly troubling because those gaps are particularly troubling because of the potential of broadband to transform American life. Consider just one example in healthcare, a topic of particular interest to me as I get older. A VA pilot program found that broadband-enabled remote patient monitoring for chronic diseases led to a 19% decrease in hospitalization, a figure that translates to cost savings of over $2 billion per year. It also, the pilot saw a 27% decline in the four-year diabetes mortality rate. So broadband has the potential to transform many things, but a prerequisite is actually get Americans online. To begin to understand how to do so, we brought on board John Horrigan, who's in the back, who'll be sticking around today, both a brilliant researcher and a pleasure to work with. I also might mention Elise Cohn, who worked with John and all of us, worked on the adoption team, also made enormous contributions to the adoption part of the plan. John conducted the first ever government study that oversampled non-adopters of broadband to determine the primary barriers. And based on that work, the plan offers a series of proposals to confront the barriers. I'm going to just point out a couple of highlights. Now, by the way, if the plan had come out a bit later on April 1, we were all set to suggest that everyone over 65 without broadband be required to adopt a teenager. One might think of it as an individual mandate for broadband. And by the way, though I have a couple of kids who are a little bit older than that, I would be happy to contribute my children if that is what it takes. We're all in on the broadband. In all seriousness, we did propose a digital literacy core. The program would employ young Americans to go out into their communities and teach digital skills, promoting digital literacy and pointing their communities to relevant content on the internet. It would have the added benefit of providing core members job skills for a lifetime. The plan also proposes specific ways to develop and support local adoption efforts. To echo Washington's favorite, we found that all adoption is local. Communities are different, barriers are different, and effective solutions are different for different locations. Third, we recommend development of applications to improve the relevance of broadband with the help of the Knight Foundation. We've begun an Apps for Inclusion contest, which asks innovators around the country to develop applications to target under-adopting communities, including seniors. So this last recommendation, again, underscores an important point. If the federal government tries to tackle barriers to adoption alone, it will fail. We must instead draw upon the power of community groups, private companies, and government altogether. It is one of the great merits of the internet that it embraces the distributed efforts of many people to solve problems. We must crowdsource adoption. We need your help, and today is a great start. Unfortunately, I have to run, but John and Elise are here. And while the plan is already handed in, the work continues for the FCC, the Congress, the President, for private industry, and very importantly, for all of you here. Deborah, again, thank you for what you're doing, and thank you all. And with that, I will go. Thank you.